OK, well, we've also got Craig Shirriffs on the show. It's not often we get a motorcycle rider on New Zealand television.
No, it's not.
It's about time, isn't it, really?
Yep.
Now, there's one thing, we'll talk about the MotoGP in a minute, which we saw earlier today, round 2. But what I want to talk to you about is the final round at Hampton Downs of the New Zealand Superbike Championship. Right, this guy's fighting for 3rd place, and it came down to the wire. Talk me through it, Craig.
Yeah, basically it was the last lap. Start-finish line's approximately 10 metres after where we brake from flat out in top gear, 270, 280 kilometres an hour. And there's myself and James Smith, whoever
and
finished...
I've got pictures of you both laying on the floor now.
Whoever finished in front of the other got 3rd overall for the Nationals. I'd already had 2 big crashes, one at 200k on Friday and then had a big high side on Saturday at about 160 kilometres an hour and broke my hand and busted my foot up a little bit and didn't come anywhere in the first race. I just couldn't move, I couldn't hold on to the bike. I was just in too much discomfort. Last race, it's like 20 minutes, come on, get on with it. And I got a better start and caught up to James, and he knew where I was at physically, and he basically, I passed him and he just followed me for the whole race, waiting for me to slow down, and it didn't happen. And he passed me on the last lap, and I just had to pass him anywhere, just first opportunity, and I got back past him. And we were about, I think I beat him by 0.005 of a second, because neither of us throttled off for the finish line, and then we just both had a big crash in turn 1 afterwards in the scene.
It was balls to the wall, wasn't it? It was whoever backed off wasn't going to get 3rd overall.
Yeah, well, that was it.
And you both knew you were going to crash, because you can't get around that corner.
Yeah, we'd talked about it, and everyone had basically said if there's something in it, we're not going to stop, and they need to do something about it. The track people need to do something about it and move the start-finish line, which was supposed to have been done before we got there, but for whatever reason it wasn't.
Now,
so made it good for the crowd.
It did make it good. Aussie Robbie Bugden is pretty good, and obviously our own Andrew Stroud, excellent, 8 titles. I think that's more than he's got kids, in all honesty. But having said that, I mean, what would it take for you to keep up with these guys? I'm thinking probably a Suzuki. No,
the Honda's more than capable. Going into the season, we were having pretty good pace, but I went to the Burt Munro in November down in Invercargill, and I got blown off the track flat out in top gear down the front straight, and basically I snapped the ACL ligament in my knee and damaged my hand, and then I fell off on Boxing Day at Cemetery Circuit and hurt my other knee and hurt some ribs, and then the first round started a week after that, so I was basically injured throughout the whole season, and then had big crashes at the last round, and I was struggling to walk and even do my helmet up by the time we actually started the last race of the event. So to end up 3rd, I was pretty happy, really. Like, going into it, if you had said you're going to get 3rd, I wouldn't have been happy, but to get there at the end was good. And like, I think it's the first podium that Honda have had in the New Zealand Superbikes for quite a long time. So
good stuff. Well, let's talk about the MotoGP then. I mean, the man to beat, Valentino Rossi.
Yep.
Casey Stoner kind of gave him round 1 by crashing pretty early on.
Yeah.
I understand he had an FMX crash as well, and he's just not really... Is he beatable this year?
Yep, everyone's beatable. I think Rossi's got a lot more racecraft than any of the guys out there. Like, he's getting on a bit now. He's in his 30s now, which is, by motorcycle racing standards, is starting to get old, they reckon, but... I think probably Lorenzo, which is his teammate overall, I think will be his biggest challenge for the year, but it was a big gift that Stoner gave him at round 1, because, those young guys, they just flat out all the time, so if they can finish some races, I think it'll be his hardest championship for a long time if he does win this one. But
well, good for Jorge Lorenzo, though, to win his home round. And
it
came down to the final lap, and he knew how to celebrate in style as well.
Yeah, he did. He got stuck in that pond. I think they had to fish him out.
Did they really? Yeah, he jumped into the pond trackside with full leathers and lid on, just to celebrate. I mean, it was an epic race, really.
Yeah, no way out for him.
So, basically, just for people at home, the difference between the superbikes and the MotoGP, superbikes is basically production bikes that you guys soup up, and the MotoGP are specially designed race bikes, aren't they?
Yeah, they're completely product.
Now, is there any chance we can see one or the other of those, or do you think those will come together in one overall series championship, come to New Zealand?
Oh, I hope they never combine them as a championship. I think the world's big enough to have them, because they are very different, but there's a good chance we'll get superbikes here, but I don't think we'll ever get a MotoGP race here unless someone spends... hundreds of millions of dollars, which is not very viable for New Zealand.
Johnny's just started a new energy drink company, so I'm sure